Hello, everyone, and welcome to D2C Dialogues. Today, we have with us Taran Chhabra, founder CEO of Neeman's Shoes. Their LinkedIn profile and introduction goes like this: Neeman's, revolutionizing footwear and fashion in India, change the norm. Neeman's was created out of a craving not just to break the mold, but to obliterate it, to say goodbye to average for good and demand a change in the way people wear shoes. We believe that's what Neeman, the LinkedIn profile says. We believe you should feel good about what you wear. And at Neeman's, we are passionate about making sure your shoes make you feel good, look good, and do good for your planet. It's that simple. Welcome to D2C Dialogues, Taran.
Thank you so much, Hitesh. Appreciate you having me.
So, Taran, you have an extremely rich background working abroad for almost a decade and more. And since you are working there, how did you enter into a business or an entrepreneurial journey, and that too in the category of shoes? How did this happen? Can you succinctly tell us about the aha moment?
Of course, Hitesh. There's been a variety of aha moments in my career, but clearly I never made a shoe before. I've never sold a shoe before. My family does not come from a footwear background. We don't own any manufacturing units. So if you'd asked me about it about 5-7 years ago, then you'd clearly say, if you'd asked me, you'd end up making shoes and you would have seen me smiling, right? So I still remember back in the day in about 2016, I had about 200 pairs of shoes back then, right? My entire basement in New Jersey was full of shoes.
200 pairs.
Of course, 200. Right?
Wow.
I owned more than my wife, so that's quite a bit of an achievement.
So you are an odd man out, really.
Of course, right? That's the kind of struggle that I used to have when we used to travel. Who packs more shoes, right? Whether it's me or my wife. But on a serious note, I never could figure out or like the kind of shoes that were being made and sold, in different markets. I just wanted something that is extremely comfortable. And all the types of footwear that were being sold were so rigid, so difficult to wear for 2 to 4 hours that it left me wanting to try more and more to find the pair that I'll fall in love with. Right? And this behavior kept on happening, right? Now, as a professional, if you are used to wearing leather shoes, the leather materials are so rigid that they kind of compress the movement of your feet, right? Imagine if this is our feet, right? If I had to tie them like this, how would you feel? Right? You'd feel unrestricted. And in fact, you'd feel restricted. And you wouldn't enjoy wearing them for multiple hours. Now, one travel experience in 2016, right? I was traveling with a walking shoe. I had a running shoe. I was there for a few days for work. So I had a work shoe. I had a lounging shoe. And if anything happened to these 4 shoes, I had one more extra pair.
My God. Wow.
So I had one suitcase just with 5 shoes. A smaller one, of course, right? And while we were boarding our train from Madrid to Barcelona, right, I missed that suitcase in the train station. And a variety of events transpired, right? It was kind of like a Bollywood scene moment wherein we'd stopped the train, we ran again to the train station, picked up the suitcase, and a bunch of other discussions between me, my wife, and my family, right? Why do I have to do all this stuff? Why can't I, adjust? Why can't I just travel with one pair? And something stung me during that travel experience, right? When will I stop complaining and do something about it? And it all started with a curiosity project. I started speaking to a few people in the US, a few people in India, just trying to understand how many pairs do they own in a year, right? Why do they buy more than one pair, right? Am I the odd one out? Or people struggle with this. And when I started speaking to people all over the world, right, this felt like a real constant problem. People had stopped enjoying wearing shoes. People were buying flip-flops, sandals a lot more than shoes. They said they want to buy something that is extremely comfortable, super light, and can be worn from multiple occasions. And that's when we decided, right, there is the necessity for a new brand to be born. That's when Neeman started.
That was, very, very insightful. And but tell me one thing, Taran. Did What was the initial reaction of your family, friends, when you said, I want to start a shoe business?
Well, it started with me narrating my idea first to my co-founder, my elder brother. Right, I had made an entire pitch. Of course, I didn't go on with just an idea of proposing. I told him why we have to do it. How long would it take? What are going to be the steps? How large is the market? So I do strategy for a living, so I know how to pitch, right? So I'd made the same for my brother. And I'd made a series of pitches before starting Neeman, so he just listened to it and said, okay, he'll get back to me. And when I started speaking about the idea to my mom, dad, I still remember my dad made this statement in Hindi, right? I'll say it out. कुछ बनाने की खातिर में जो भी बनाए उसको मत छोड़ देना. He just told me this, right? Because I had a settled life. Of course, I was making a decent amount of money. I had a house. I just had a newborn. And to leave everything and to then start something new appeared to be very rash, right? To my friends and also family at the outset. But when I told them this is what I have to do, and I'm not going to stop, right? And I think everybody stung by my side and said, okay, let's do this.
Awesome. But it was your conviction, that made everybody convinced that this is where you want to spend your next productive years in building this brand Neeman's. How did this name Neeman's come up?
So when we were looking at starting the brand, right, we of course thought, why are we doing this, right? Is it a passion? Is it going to be a family-owned business? Is it going to be a very large outcome? What do we envision from this, right? And we said, we want to create a legacy, right? We want to create something that our family is proud of, right? Something that my kids will nourish over the next decades. And that's when we started thinking about the name for the business. And we combined our parents' names. Neelam is our mother. Manjeet is our father. We combined both their names and called the business Neeman's, right? Whatever me and Amar have learned thus far, it's from our parents, right? We owe it to them on what we have done. And creating a business on their names was something that is something that we're extremely proud of.
Nice. So, one more way of naming a brand, and you have dedicated this to your parents. I think that says a lot about your, devotion to the upbringing that they have, done with you and your brother. With this, and I think it's a very emotional thing as well. And brand name, a name is always an emotional thing, Taran. So I think the whole story behind naming Neeman's is extremely emotional, but as powerful as it can be. With this, I want to come to the next part, and that is the product. Shoe is something that you decided that you will venture into. Initially, I think, and you'll have to give some more insights on that. Initially, you started with merino wool, and PET bottles, sustainable products. So, can you just take us through the materials that you had thought you would start with, and then subsequently how you have diversed?
So Hitesh, we've always wanted to make a difference in what we do, right? We said we're just much more than a shoe company, right? We want to do something that makes people proud of buying, wearing, and supporting Neeman's, right? In that course, we decided that we leverage materials that are great for the ecosystem, right? In a nutshell, these materials are great for us and great for the environment as well. That's when we leveraged and we've innovated, and we are India's first in utilizing all these materials in footwear. We've launched a shoe that's made with merino wool that can be worn in summer and in winter. We've launched a sneaker that's made post-recycling plastic bottles. We've recycled over 1 million plastic bottles till date. That means we not only create a comfortable shoe, but these plastic bottles are collected from landfills, garbages from landfills, from water bodies, cleaned, purified, and then converted into a super flexible shoe upper and then made into a shoe. We've also used recycled tires in our flip-flops. All our packaging is made with recycled waste paper, right? So in the course, we have redefined the usage of a lot of materials in footwear. And Neeman's is a responsible footwear brand. So whenever we look about creating a new product, we try and see what will make it extremely comfortable, affordable, and value for money. Post that, the material usage is decided. And then, of course, the amount of research, testing that goes into our products really differentiates us in terms of a series of features that we have introduced thus far in footwear.
So Taran, a lot of R&D goes into this, is what you have said. Can you tell us something about how did you set up your research part of this? So who tells you that, okay, it's merino wool? Who tells you it is PET bottle? Who tells you that this is XYZ material? And how does the whole process happen at Neeman's?
So we have a series of product managers and research analysts who work on this piece, right? Plus, we've identified everything that is natural, sustainable, recycled, and other materials that we feel will create a good product. Then we go about speaking with folks who are experts in these materials, right? Who've done some kind of work, who have the supply chain, who have the R&D labs that can leverage our thesis and convert this into footwear, right? So first it starts with curiosity, right? Now merino wool had never gone into shoes in India before. People were just using it in t-shirts. So we thought, hey, why not shoes when it's being used in t-shirts and socks? So started with just questioning, because it's such a beautiful fiber, it's so luxurious. From then it started with speaking several global R&D players, doing some tests back and forth, right? It takes a series of 12 to 24 months to arrive into a conclusion that this material can be used into shoes. And we've done with just not recycled PET bottles. We also have used a material called Tencel, which comes with wood pulp. So this talks about the kind of process that goes into making a shoe here at Neeman's.
Coming back to the production, did you go for make or buy? Make on your own or buy it, outsource it from outside? And what was the strategy behind that?
See, we outsource all our production, right? But none of our products are available off the shelf, right? It isn't like any other stream where materials will be ready to buy, source, and can be made into a final product in 60 or 90 days, right? That's not the case in footwear. So there's a series of back and forth to test the kind of materials, the abrasion, the comfort level, the flexibility, the breathability. that goes in, right? Once we are confident that this material goes in, then the design is released, then the product is made. The product is released to a series of testers. The test wear for a couple of weeks. After we are completely satisfied that the product meets our expectations, then a production order is released. So it's outsourced, but it's a two-way street wherein we work hand to hand with the material suppliers and the assembly units and make the final product.
So, Taran, initially this was a D2C brand. Can you take us through that journey? How did you start selling Neeman's shoes?
So when we launched Neeman's, right, we had a series of options, right, before launch. The first process was to go direct to the consumer, right? The second option was to go the traditional route in India, which is work with a series of wholesalers, distributors, and leverage their reach to sell the product. Now, this is how traditionally a lot of footwear was being sold. But we said this is Neeman's, right? It's a new age brand, it's a new concept. What will drive their motivation, right? What will drive a wholesaler or retailer's motivation to sell Neeman's versus any other brand? Plus, how will they do justice to what we stand for? I said, this is not going to work. The second option was to start our own stores. Now, when you start your stores right at the outset, you create an experience zone, but there's no awareness for the business. Why will people walk into your store, right? They've not heard about you. So we said, yeah, ये दोनों ideas नहीं चलेंगे. We want to speak to our consumer directly. And directly is our own website. Right? Try and understand what works for them. How do they like the product? Take more feedback. And then build on it. So we start. That's the whole idea of starting direct to consumer via our own website.
How was the initial response, Taran? And what all steps you took? Because obviously it's but natural when the brand is new, nobody's aware about it. Having said that, over a period of time, days, weeks, months, and years, the brand becomes the brand what it is. So, what were the initial hiccups that you faced, and how did you overcome them as far as marketing is concerned?
There's a series of hiccups, right? That we or any new age footwear brand would face, right? One, lack of awareness, right? Trying to understand why a consumer should buy from us was the biggest question that our consumers were trying to understand. So we started demonstrating it with a series of use cases. We started demonstrating what are the features in the product. We started demonstrating a use case on customer testimonials, people who have used the product. We started talking about how we are good for the environment with our materials, right? And we started doing this on a series of platforms in different modes of communication. Now, Twitter has a very different audience base. Facebook has a very different audience base. LinkedIn has a very different audience base. There are a series of blogs that are written in platforms like Quora. Now, we used all of this in different proportions to create awareness, right? And then over a series of several months, we started people trying the product, ordering the product. We started getting more feedback. We used to call the customers. We still do, and then seek updates on how things are progressing. And slowly but steadily, I think our awareness has creeped up, and that's where people started trying the product, ordering it, reordering it. That's how we develop new series of products of what gaps our current products have, what price points we need to get into, what markets do we need to cater more. So it's been a series of trial, error, customer feedback, right? Then innovate, re-innovate, and then proceed further.
So who was a typical customer of Neeman's shoes initially, and who the customer is today? Has the customer changed? One, and who is a typical Neeman's customer as of today?
So the customer hasn't changed. right? I don't think we've changed our positioning. We've largely stuck to who we are and what we do over the last 4.5 years. That's where I think we've been very strong in the kind of value proposition that we create. Our consumer is largely a plus 23, 24-year-old male or female. Right from 24 to 35 are the first set of folks that we speak to. But our TG is pretty wide and diverse, right? We have a 44-year-old customer to a 65-year-old customers as well. Because of the whole thesis that comfortable footwear can be worn, sported by all age groups.
Given that you focus a lot on sustainability, is a particular group or a demographic segment more inclined towards Neeman's?
The sustainability is a value proposition for us, right? It's not the only why for people to buy the product. We don't tell them because we are cleaning the environment, you should buy a product. The biggest value proposition that we go after is comfort, right? We say, this is the most comfortable pair of shoe that you'd wear, right? Now, along with it being comfortable, you are helping the environment because you're using materials that are natural or recycled. So our value proposition is kind of multifold. So in that sense, we really don't just talk about one value proposition or limit our communication.
Okay. Now, given the situation that you sustainability is one of the value propositions, what is the current positioning of Neeman's as a brand?
Neeman's is your go-to comfortable footwear brand, which uses innovative, differentiated, and responsible materials to craft its footwear.
Okay. Now coming to the supply chain part, we did speak about the outsourcing part of it, but now let's come to the pricing and the costing part of it. Primarily you sell online, but how do you manage the balance between keeping inventory costs low while ensuring quick deliveries as well?
It's been a combination of first. It started with first creating the best product in the best country. Once the product started doing well, then the second focus was how do you localize the manufacturing and reduce the costs that go into sourcing, supply chain, assembly, and so on. Now, it's been a series of years that we've been able to tackle this situation, and now a completely local made in India sourcing, which gives us the leverage of best value for money products today in the country. Second is we have distributed warehousing and dispatch locations across the country today. We exactly know where our customers are, where's our highest chunk of volume coming from. And depending on where the order is received, the goods are dispatched from the nearest warehousing unit. This gives us a great balance of reducing the delivery time frame and also reducing our own logistic costs. Because the goods don't travel halfway across the country for several days to reach the customer. In most of the cases, they reach in, say, 48 to 72 hours.
So, Taran, can you tell us where all Neeman shoes are sold, online and offline, and the distribution part of it also?
Neeman's is sold via its own website, www.neemans.com. Neeman's is available via its own exclusive stores. Across the country, we have about 5 stores, 2 in Mumbai, 2 in Bangalore, 1 in Hyderabad. Neeman's is also sold on large e-commerce platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra.
So what are your plans for distribution? Do you want to take Neeman's to, do you want to create franchises in the future, or how do you want to take it to the trade, or you're going to keep only your Coco stores or maybe online, the two channels that you mentioned?
So we're going where our consumer is, right? We're saying the brand has been around for 4.5 years. There's great awareness for the business. So go to places where customers shop footwear today. And we are going to go deeper on offline.
Go deeper on offline.
So we are seeing tremendous tailwinds in our own stores. So we will continue to open a series of stores, along with focusing on online and e-commerce. So there's going to be a fine balance in all three channels.
Okay. Fine balance on all the three channels. And we will go where our customer is. I think that's the best part. Coming to the marketing part, Taran, can you share what was the overall marketing strategy and how did you effectively communicate to the audience? And I'm talking more from a strategic perspective, that okay, when you started, this is what we'll do. This is not what we are going to do. And once we get more traction, more awareness, more funds. So because today there are plethora of brands who are into shoes, but the only thing that differentiates between success and failure is, ultimately how to get the customer. And you have done it perfectly till date. So just share succinctly about your marketing strategy.
I don't know if we have done it perfectly. There's this, of course, room of improvement, right? And we knew that we were the first ones who were taking this option. Now, we never observed competition much, right? Because we knew the competition has been there, done that. And we are new in the ecosystem. So how do we create a mental mind share, right? Now, footwear isn't an impulsive buy, right? You don't see a footwear ad on YouTube today and buy in 10 minutes. That doesn't happen. But you got to keep knocking the door of a consumer. When you keep knocking via different modes of communication, you create some kind of mental recall. So the question that we used to ask is, are we among the top 3 brands or the top 5 brands that the consumer would think of when they buy footwear? And how do we get there, right? If we are not, of course, we are not there. So the next time they are out in the market to buy footwear, they'll be like, यार ये ब्रांड के बारे में सुना था, कहीं देखा है, चलो इसको ट्राई करते हैं. What's the harm in it? You have free exchanges, you have free delivery, पैसा वापस आ जाएगा, कहीं जा नहीं रहा पैसा. So we broke our marketing communication into several apprehensions that the consumers would have, right? The first thing that we speak about is, keep in mind, India is a low trust market. People don't trust brands easily here. So how do you build trust? And building trust is a series of events. Now we are selling shoes online. So what kind of questions would people have? How would the shoe fit me? Will I be able to exchange? Will I be able to return? What's the process going to be like? We eradicate all the steps by saying unlimited exchanges, unlimited refunds, returns. This done. The second piece is authenticity about the brand. Trust. Now there's so much of noise online. How do you build trust? So trust is a gradual process, right? You can't buy trust with marketing, and it's not instant. It's a series of activities that are done over a period of time that generates trust. When you see friends, family, your colleagues wear the product, talk about the product, trust builds. When you see people that you look up to, celebrities, actors, OTT stars, cricketers, wearing the product, then it creates more mental recall. Yeah, this is some brand. And we've done all of this in equal proportions, right? At the right duration to nudge the consumer.
Fantastic. The whole piece or the idea about trust and the way you have eliminated the apprehensions of the customer is a perfect strategy, I think, to win that trust of the consumer. You also mentioned cricketers, etc. How did your collaboration with Jasprit Bumrah, come about, and what impact this collaboration has made on Neeman's as a brand?
And Neeman has collaborated with a series of celebrities and cricketers, like I spoke about, right? And Jasprit was one among them.
Okay.
And the idea was Jasprit has a beautiful name in the cricket fraternity, right? People trust him as a character, as a personality. He's a great sportsman. How could we compare his personality to Neeman's as a footwear brand? And then leverage his reach and spread the word for us was what we looked at when we collaborated with Jasprit. In fact, we collaborated with Jasprit, Hardik Pandya, and Surya Kumar Yadav at once during a cricketing World Cup 2 years ago, right? And all of these 3 videos came out in a series of a week. 3 very different stories, 3 very different personalities as cricketers, showcasing their love for Neeman's is what we wanted to do it via that campaign, right? It was a very fulfilling and satisfying for our entire brand because the amount of reach that we've gotten by having top cricketers was phenomenal. People started searching for the brand, people started organically coming to our website, right? So the whole awareness aspect or the awareness quotient from the brand grew by working with these folks.
From marketing to finance, initially, like any other brand, you must also have faced a lot of financial crunch because it's a startup. How did you overcome the financial crutch and the major impediments from the finance and the funding perspective, Taran?
Now, we've had a series of investments, right? For the first full 1 year, we were bootstrapped. Both of us were invested our capital. We knew this is a new concept. Footwear is a very large market in India, but hasn't seen great brands come out of it. So there was necessity to demonstrate product marketing, team building before raising any external investors. So that's what we did. We bootstrapped for a year. Within this year, there was enough proof that we had generated. Post that, we have raised a series of investments till date. We have Anicut, who backed us in our first round. We have Six Sense, who's continued to back us for the last couple of rounds. Both of them have been instrumental in helping us build, scale, and evolve in the last 4.5 years.
Okay. Now, coming to the future, what future plans do you have from a growth strategy, from a product perspective, marketing, sales, and distribution perspective, from a brand perspective? So where do you see what are the immediate plans?
We want to take Neeman's to be among the top 10 footwear brands that India has seen, right? Period, right? We're not driving that from a revenue perspective, right? Revenue will happen. what would it take from a channel perspective? Channel perspective is, like I said, all three channels in equal proportion, like so website, e-commerce, and offline stores. And a series of product developments are being done to resolve the pain points that we see today in the footwear ecosystem.
Nice. Taran, now we'll go to the final round, and that's the rapid fire round.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and it's a rapid fire. Taran,
Okay. Oh.
do you have a shoe collection? How many pairs do you own?
So I don't have any shoes apart from Neeman's today. I think I've thrown everything away. The only shoes that I have is Neeman's, and I would have 200 pairs or more, which is my personal collection of testing over a period of time. Yeah. So
Only 400 pairs.
it's 200. It's around 200. Then it gets. I have a personal room in my house which is just my shoes, and once the room starts filling up, I start donating it. But these are a series of shoes that I wear. I test over multiple durations, which are predominantly Neeman's. I don't have anything else apart from Neeman's today.
Dream celebrity spokesperson for Neeman's.
There's several. I think the one that I'd love to back us is Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. Okay. Neeman's shoes spotted on a famous athlete. Who would you like it to be?
I know Sachin Tendulkar.
Sachin Tendulkar. If Neeman's shoes are featured in a magazine, name the publication.
Neeman's has been there around in most of the magazines, but it'd be good to see in maybe Cosmopolitan. I don't know.
Okay. Your proudest moment as a founder of Neeman's.
I think it started right from the day we launched, right? The moment we saw our first order being placed, a customer actually ordering us and trusting us was the day I think we, both of us, were extremely proud.
Describe Neeman's brand personality in 3 words.
Comfortable, sustainable, versatile.
Comfortable, sustainable, versatile. Name a brand you think is your closest competitor.
Skechers.
Which is the most memorable feedback that you have got from a customer?
I think all the feedbacks have been a sense of improvement for us, right? So there's no one feedback that I can think of, but all feedbacks are something that are very extremely scrutinized and then worked upon internally by the team.
Taran, one more question that comes in my mind is about the corporate customer, and associated with that is a leather shoe. So does Neeman have a leather shoe? That is one. And second, is a corporate customer a segment for Neeman's?
Now we started with predominantly looking at the casual footwear, right? We felt casual footwear is going to be the biggest market to go after. And it's rightfully today the largest market today in India. Now, to answer your question, we don't do any leather, right? Leather as a material doesn't form in our thesis. Plus, we don't feel it creates the kind of product that we want to go after in terms of comfort. So we don't do any leather. Second is we are creating a range which we call formal or dress. Now, this range will be launched in the next month. It's a combination of a shoe that can be worn in corporate scenarios, formal occasions, parties, but it has the comfort of a sneaker. Hence, we call it the dress sneaker, right? So, leveraging our materials in creating a product that looks more formal is something that's in progress right now.
Last but not the least, if possible, please give in numbers. Where do you see Neeman's 5 years down the line?
Close to 700 to 900 crores in terms of revenue.
700 to 900 crores in terms of revenue. That's Taran Chhabra for us, founder, CEO of Neeman's Shoes. With this, we wish Taran all the very best to achieve that ambitious but very much doable number with the brand that Neeman's is. All the very best, Taran. Thank you very much for being with us here today at D2C Dialogues. Thank you.
So much, Hitesh. Appreciate you guys having me.